For months, Nigeria stood at a crossroads. A nation of over 200 million people was preparing for what many believed would be its most important election since the return to democracy in 1999. Hope filled the air. Millions of young Nigerians registered to vote for the very first time. Social media became a political battlefield. Campaign rallies drew crowds unlike anything seen in years. Some believed the country was on the verge of a new beginning. Others feared history was about to repeat itself. But when Election Day finally arrived, optimism quickly turned into uncertainty. Technical issues, delayed voting, conflicting reports, accusations from political parties, legal battles that lasted for months, and questions that many Nigerians are still asking today. Was this simply another difficult election, or did the events of 2023 change Nigerian politics forever? This is the untold story behind Nigeria's most controversial election. To understand why the 2023 presidential election attracted so much attention, you first have to understand Nigeria itself. Before the election, millions of Nigerians were dealing with rising food prices. Fuel shortages affected transportation. The cost of living increased sharply. Unemployment remained a major concern for many families, for young Nigerians especially. The future looked uncertain. At the same time, a new generation had become more politically active than ever before. The NSARS protests of 2020 had demonstrated the power of youth mobilization and civic participation. By 2023, many first-time voters were determined to make their voices heard through the ballot box. Across the country, political conversations moved from newspaper headlines to smartphones, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, WhatsApp. Politics became part of everyday life. For perhaps the first time in years, millions of ordinary Nigerians felt that their individual votes could genuinely influence the country's future. The excitement was impossible to ignore. The race featured several candidates, but three dominated public attention. Bola Ahmed Tinubu, representing the APC, campaigned on his long political experience and record in Lagos State. Atiku Abubakar of the PDP, a former vice president, sought the presidency after multiple previous attempts. Peter Obi, running under the Labour Party, attracted widespread support, particularly among many younger voters and urban professionals. His supporters, often called the Obedient movement, became a highly visible force both online and at campaign events. Each campaign presented a different vision for Nigeria. Each attracted passionate supporters, and each believed victory was within reach. Campaign rallies drew massive crowds. Political debates dominated television and radio. Every speech, every interview, every social media post seemed capable of changing public opinion overnight. By February 2023, the atmosphere had become electric. The entire country waited for Election Day. February 25th finally arrived. Before sunrise, Nigerians were already gathering at polling units. Some had traveled long distances. Others waited patiently for hours. Many believed they were witnessing history. Yet as voting began, challenges emerged. In some areas, polling materials arrived late. In others, voting started hours behind schedule. Reports of logistical difficulties appeared across different parts of the country. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, acknowledged operational challenges in several locations. Despite these setbacks, many Nigerians remained in line throughout the day to cast their votes. Some polling units stayed open longer to accommodate delays. The determination of many voters became one of the defining images of the election. Voting eventually ended. Now came the counting. Across Nigeria, citizens watched television, checked their phones, refreshed social media feeds. Everyone wanted the same answer: who would become Nigeria's next president? As results began arriving from different states, tension grew. Supporters celebrated strong performances in some regions. Others questioned developments in areas where their preferred candidates underperformed. Attention also turned to the electronic transmission of results. Some observers and political parties raised concerns about delays and technical issues affecting the upload of polling unit results. INEC stated that while technical challenges affected aspects of the process, the collation of results continued under the legal framework governing the election. The debate quickly became one of the election's most discussed issues. In the early morning hours of March 1, 2023, after days of intense collation and growing nationwide tension, the Independent National Electoral Commission made its official declaration. Bola Ahmed Tinubu of the All Progressives Congress was declared the winner, securing over 8.7 million votes and meeting the constitutional requirement across the states. Atiku Abubakar of the PDP finished second, while Peter Obi of the Labour Party came in third, having won key urban strongholds, including Lagos State and Abuja. For supporters of the ruling party, it was a moment of triumph and celebration. They saw it as a victory for political experience and political strategy. President-elect Tinubu called for national unity, offering an olive branch to his opponents, but across large parts of the country. The announcement was met with skepticism and disappointment. Opposition parties immediately rejected the results. They pointed to delayed result uploads, operational failures, and allegations of irregularities. They argued that technical glitches on the election portal had compromised the transparency voters were promised. Within hours, the contest shifted from the polling units to the courtrooms. Both Atiku Abubakar and Peter Obi announced they would challenge the outcome in court. The legal battle for the presidency had officially begun. For months, Nigeria watched closely as the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal heard arguments from all sides. Legal teams presented stacks of documents, witness testimonies, and technical evidence regarding the electoral process. In September 2023, the tribunal upheld the election results. Weeks later, the Supreme Court affirmed the decision, confirming Bola Ahmed Tinubu as Nigeria's president and bringing the formal legal challenges to a close. Yet the legacy of the 2023 election extends far beyond the final court ruling. It revealed deep divisions, unprecedented youth participation, and the rising power of social media in modern African politics. It proved that the traditional two-party system could be challenged and that millions of citizens are demanding greater accountability, transparency, and reform from their institutions. Was 2023 simply another controversial chapter in Nigerian history? Or was it the beginning of a permanent shift in how Nigerians engage with power? One thing is certain. The millions of voters who stood in line, waited in the dark, and demanded to be heard proved that the desire for democracy remains alive, and the story of Nigeria's future is still being written. If you found this deep dive insightful, hit the like button to help spread this story, share it with someone who needs to see it, and subscribe to the channel for more untold stories and deep dives into the events shaping our world. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear your perspective.